Rain-slicked streets shimmered like molten silver under the lanterns, each drop refracting the amber light into tiny specters that danced across cobblestones. The city breathed with a restless rhythm, a pulse that mingled with the distant tolling of church bells, both calling and warning in equal measure. Amid the quiet chaos, a figure moved with deliberate grace. His wings folded tight beneath a black coat that brushed the puddles with whispered swishes. His name was Seraphil, a fallen angel cast from the heavens, his immortal form roiling with the weight of desire he could neither name nor release. He had walked the mortal world for centuries, watching humanity stumble and sin, feeling the pull of duty fray at the edges of his resolve. He had never yielded, never succumbed to the temptations that thrummed in the flesh around him, until tonight. There was a presence in the quiet square, an energy that tugged at his chest with unholy insistence, weaving threads of longing into the very marrow of his bones. At the edge of the square, a woman stood beneath a wrought iron arch, her hair damp from the drizzle, droplets clinging to lashes like tears suspended in time. She carried a book against her chest, pages worn and fragrant with the scent of history and ink. Her name was Amara, and she moved with a careful elegance that belied her youth, her eyes pools of dark water reflecting the storming sky above. When their gazes met, the world contracted, and the drizzle became a curtain through which only they existed. Seraphil approached, his heart, long thought immune to mortal impulses, pounding with a cadence that reminded him of life he had long abandoned. "You shouldn't be out here," he murmured, voice low and vibrating with an intensity that made the air thrum. Amara tilted her head, curiosity piqued. "And yet, here I am. Perhaps someone is meant to find me." The words struck him like a sword through silk, cutting yet caressing, and Seraphil felt the stirrings of something dangerous, the kind of desire that angels are forbidden to acknowledge. Every instinct screamed to step back, to remember his fall, to shield himself from the mortal temptation that threatened to unravel him. And yet he stepped closer, drawn as if by some invisible tether. The rain intensified, a torrential symphony that drummed against the rooftops, and lightning traced jagged veins across the sky. Seraphil's wings itched beneath his coat, urging release. The faint tremor of feathers whispering against the storm's song. Amara shivered and closed the book, her fingers brushing the spine in nervous anticipation. "Do I know you?" she asked, though her voice betrayed the tremor of recognition that ran through her veins. "You might," he replied, his voice softer now, tinged with an intimacy centuries in the making. "Or perhaps you've only imagined me." They walked together beneath the storm, the world around them blurring into a palette of muted greys and the occasional flicker of neon from shuttered taverns. Every step was measured, every brush of their hands electric, a spark that neither could ignore. Seraphil felt the sinful pull of mortal flesh, the intoxicating warmth, the heat of breath mingling, the sight of her pulse racing beneath the thin fabric of her coat. Each sensation clawed at his composure, threatening to cast him fully into the human desires he had long renounced. By the time they reached the abandoned chapel at the edge of the city, lightning had carved the sky into veins of white fire. Inside, the shadows swelled, hugging the walls and whispering secrets meant only for the fallen. Seraphil's fingers brushed the back of her hand, tentative at first. Then, with a hunger that had nothing to do with sustenance and everything to do with the ache of centuries restrained, Amara's breath hitched. "I feel something strange and heavy and yet comforting. Do you understand what you feel?" he asked, his own voice barely more than a breath. "This is not simple longing. It is dangerous. It could consume us both." She looked up at him, and the lamplight reflected in her eyes, turning them molten. "I am not afraid of danger," she said, her voice steady, almost a challenge. I am afraid of what I will feel if I do not give in. The tension between them thickened, a tangible fog of temptation and fear. Seraphil's wings quivered beneath his coat, the suppressed power thrumming against the air like the heartbeat of a storm. Every instinct demanded retreat, every sinew yearned to draw her close, to let sin and desire coalesce in the forbidden. Their lips brushed, not in full, not yet. But the contact sent shivers down his spine and set her pulse racing, a prelude to a fire neither had planned to ignite. And then the first candle flickered and died, swallowed by the shadows of the chapel. For a heartbeat, silence ruled, and then whispers, not their own, filled the room. Echoes of angels long fallen, of humans who had succumbed to temptation, murmured warnings and promises alike. The air became electric, oppressive, charged with the knowledge that indulgence came with cost. Seraphil pressed his forehead to hers, feeling the rapid flutter of her pulse against his chest. If we continue, he murmured, the world may not forgive us, and neither will I. She traced the line of his jaw with a trembling finger. Then let the world wait. Let it burn. Tonight, it is only us. The storm outside crescendoed, rain lashing against broken stained glass, wind tearing at the rafters like the cries of the fallen. The chapel became a crucible, molding their temptation and desire into a single, combustible entity. Their embrace deepened, careful yet desperate, and in the heat of the moment, Seraphil felt the fragile tether of his divinity begin to fray. Time seemed to stretch. Minutes folded into hours, and the storm outside became an allegory of the tempest within them, wild, unrestrained, and undeniably alive. Every brush of skin, every sigh and heartbeat, wrote a sonnet of sin and longing that neither heaven nor hell could dictate. And then, as dawn approached, the candlelight returned, soft and forgiving, painting their faces in muted gold. They separated reluctantly, breaths mingling, eyes heavy with knowledge of what they had wrought and what they would lose. Seraphil's wings unfolded for the first time since centuries of concealment, catching the early light, casting shadows across the chapel floor like ink on parchment. Whatever comes, he said, his voice hoarse yet tender, we cannot undo this. And perhaps we should not try. Amara nodded, understanding without words. We have tasted fire, she said, and it has marked us both. Let it guide us, not destroy us. The fallen angel and the mortal stepped from the chapel, leaving behind the storm's fury, carrying within them a bond that defied law, morality, and time itself. Outside, the city stirred, unaware of the sin and salvation that had unfolded in its shadows. And though temptation would linger and the consequences of their indulgence would one day come knocking, for now desire and longing had found their home in the fragile space between human and divine, a place where the lustful angel and the woman who dared to meet him in the storm could exist, if only for a night.